This is a 2003 GMC Sierra Z71, and I'm going to show you how to replace a broken rear leaf spring shackle. The owner of the vehicle was telling me that there was a loud banging noise coming from the back side of the vehicle when he drove. Turns out that the rear shackle had rusted and broke apart, and the leaf spring was hitting the underside of the bed of the truck. Over time he kept driving it, the spring just basically pounded its way through and it's punctured the bed. Again, these GM trucks, you've got one, you know they rust like crazy. My 99 Silverado, the side of the bed's rusted so bad you can actually see through the vehicle. Anyway, let's get to work. Alright, so here we are in the bed of the truck. Tell me if you see anything that looks out of place. Aha! I've already taken the nut off the back side of this, and I've taken a block of wood and a hammer and stuff, and I've been able to basically loosen the bolt up until this point, and I can't drive it out any further. At least I'm not going to try to drive it out any further. I'm just going to take a grinding wheel and just cut this bolt and get it out that way, and then we'll work on the lower bolt. The grinding wheel worked nicely, bolts out. Time to work on the lower bolt. So here's the lower part of the rear shackle. You can see where it snapped off the top here. Broke. This is a 13/16 bolt, so I'm getting the nut end off of it. I'm going to put a ratchet over here if I can reach it. The trailer hitch runs right across the top part of this bolt, so this might be a problem being able to get a socket or something on here to get this bolt out. I've taken my grinding wheel and I've been using it to cut through the shackle itself. I had been hitting on it with a hammer for quite some time and just couldn't really get it to go anywhere. So I thought, well, forget this, I'm going to use my grinder. So I cut through it nice and easy and slow, let it have a chance to cool off. I didn't want to catch that boot, that rubber bushing on fire. So probably not the smartest thing, but I cut the bolt. So it's now officially out. So the shackle can come out. Maybe. Come on, baby. Alright, there we go. I'm getting rained on. It's late. I'll finish this off tomorrow. Alright, here's that rear shackle. I took the grinder and just basically drilled down in that shackle and got to the bolt and just cut it out that way. The threads are what keep it from really driving through that way. So if you're able to knock it out so far and hack it off from that way, or cut through the shackle itself, it's best to pull the bolt out from this direction. Alright, so how am I going to get that leaf spring to go down to bolt in the new shackle? I'm glad you asked. What we need to do is get the truck jacked up on the underside, on the frame somewhere, and let the axle and the tires stay on the pavement, and basically lift the truck and allow that leaf spring to just kind of fall with the axle as it stays on the ground and lift the frame up. So I've got a floor jack. It only goes up so high. So what would be best, if you have maybe an engine cherry picker, you might want to hook onto your bumper and lift up the truck that way. So I'm going to have to improvise with my floor jack. Alright, the new bolt for the shackle does not want to go in to the leaf spring bushing. Alright, so my sandpaper really isn't cutting it, so I got a 1/2 inch drill and I'm going through the inner sleeve of this bushing, just trying to wallow it out a little bit, smooth it up so that my bolt will slide through there. finally. So now it's time to jack the truck up and get that shackle on. Right, to get my jack to lift a little higher, I just have this 2x6 box laying around that turned out to be quite helpful. The axle, the rear axle, and the leaf spring should stay where it is, and you'll see that leaf spring disappear as I lift the truck up. Now I'm going to have to put the shackle on and put the bolt through first before I lift this truck, because there's going to be no way to get that bolt in once this lowers down in the frame. The truck frame's there, and I would never get the bolt in. Took my pry bar and moved some of the sheet metal on the bed of the truck, bent it up and out of the way. That way that new bracket doesn't catch on anything. Looks like it's going to anyway. Okay, the nut is a 13/16 and the head of the bolt is a 3/4. Basically put the nuts on finger tight just so everything can get lined up. As you torque down on these, the teeth of the bushings will bite down as this metal compresses as we tighten these bolts down, and basically it'll lock down in place. Now, I put this bolt in reverse. The trailer hitch frame is in the way of the bolt, and I wasn't going to be able to slide that in unless I notched out the trailer hitch or bent it, the metal, and I wasn't about to mess with it. Alright, now that we got the truck down to planet Earth again, I'm going to go ahead and tighten these down the rest of the way, get them nice and snug, and we'll call it a night. Well, that's how you replace a leaf spring shackle on a 2003 GMC Sierra. Pretty much the same for all GM trucks. So this job really wasn't that hard as far as what you've got to do to replace the part, but there is some pretty big challenges as far as getting the bolts out. These trucks get so rusty and corroded. One of the things that you've got to really pay attention to is these bolts don't want to go this way with the threads. The threads basically stick in the bushing in that metal sleeve. If you can hammer that in just enough to be able to get the head of the bolt out, you can cut that bolt off and it pulls right out. As far as this lower shackle, you can see where I used the cutting wheel there to cut that out. You can't drive this you can't drive the bolt that far. There's too much stuff in the way to get a cutting wheel on it. So basically I thought, you know, there's no choice other than to just cut it. Just go slow, take it easy. That rubber bushing is down in there. It smokes really bad, it stinks. Possibly could catch fire, I don't know. I took my time with it. Got down there and cut through the bolt, came right out there. As far as getting the new bolt into the leaf spring, get a good 1/2-inch drill and just kind of bore it out a little bit if you can't get that bolt in. Kind of help clean that up a little bit. It gets really corroded in there. Sandpaper really didn't do anything for me, so getting that drill bit in there, boring it out and kind of really working on it, got that bolt in there. Get a good floor jack, if you've got an engine hoist or something, or a forklift or something to be able to get your truck up higher than what your standard floor jack can do. Thankfully, I had a 4x6, or excuse me, a 2x6 box that I had laying outside. So really, that's it. Not that hard. Some challenges. Just have some good tools and some elbow grease and some patience, and you'll get it fixed just like I did. So anyway, thanks for watching. Hope this was helpful to you. Go Tribe, and God bless. Good enough.